Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and this massive box is the Neato BOTVAC Connected D4. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so today we're taking a look at the Neato BOTVAC Connected D4, and as it says from the box, this is got better coverage, better pickup and a better clean. So this is a robotic vacuum if you're not sure what it is already. So essentially robotic vacuums, they are mostly programmable and have sensors and switches and guides, etc. So they can navigate around your house and clean your carpets for you. If you're a very busy person and you'd like to have a robot do your cleaning for you, then these kind of things are right up your street. I've had one similar to this previously, a much cheaper device, which unfortunately did actually die and had to be returned to Amazon. But I actually really enjoyed it. It was great to wake up in the morning to the sound of the motors whirring away, knowing that all the pet fur and fluff and dead flies and spiders were all being sucked up whilst I was just getting ready to get in the shower and start my day. For me, that was fantastic. So I really wanted to get back into it again, and luckily we reached out to Neato and Neato said they'd send us one for review purposes. So in this review, all my opinions are going to be my own, but this has been sent as a review sample, so I just thought I would put that out there just so you know where we're all coming from. Okay, so let's take a look around the box itself. So as you can see on the front of the box, you've got a picture of the device itself. Now the Neato D4 has actually, I don't know whether it's intentional, but the D name, it is actually a D-shaped device. So at the front, you've got a very flat front head and you've got the rounded rear. Now the reason behind this is because this device can get right up into the corners. So because you've got like a 90-degree there, you can get right up into the corners of 90 degrees, get in there and do all the cleaning you need to. Also with the rounded edge, it makes it slightly easier to navigate or to reverse around other corners. So whereas with other vacuums, which are traditionally round entirely, they struggle to get right up in the corners, and you generally have in the corner here somewhere or there, you would have a large beater bar or brush bar to try and get into those bits that it would otherwise miss. So having this large front section, and it is actually a really large section, and the actual cleaning blade, as we'll see in a minute, actually goes pretty much the entire length of that. So it's a really, really large cleaning area. Another thing of note on the box in the bottom here is you've got an Apple iWatch and you've also got a phone. So this is controllable via the app on the phone, and also it's controllable by various devices using wireless principles, and also things like your home assistant, so Google Home, the Alexa system, IFTTT and others. Also, you can actually set it off from your Apple iWatch, which is something I haven't seen before, so that's a new one on me. You can also see, hopefully you can see from the box, it actually creates an entire map of your house. So if you're on the ground floor and you set it off for the very first time, it'll go around bumping and knocking into things and working out where it can actually get to in your house. Once it's done that and then return back to the base after a full run, it will then give you on your phone or in the app, it will give you a breakdown of exactly where it's managed to get to and give you this kind of layout of your house. Now when you've got this layout of the house, you can then actually set safety zones or no-go areas. So if there's a certain area, maybe it's in your hallway and there's where the kids and everyone leaves their shoes and there's laces and things lying around and you don't want those getting tangled up, you can just draw a line on the app and it will not go to that part anymore. It will completely omit it. Likewise, say for instance you've got maybe a table in the middle of your living room and it's a little bit tight to get underneath it, or it's got very delicate legs and you don't want it smashing into it, then again, not a problem, just set a barrier around the outside of it and it will completely avoid that area in the future. So if you've got things like kids' toys on the floor, maybe it's on the upstairs you're cleaning and you're going into the kids' rooms and you don't want it to go in there because there's Lego bricks and all kinds of stuff on the floor, you can just draw a line in the app and it will avoid those rooms. Now all of this mapping and guidance is taken care of by the sensor, which is on the top here. So this is a 360-degree sensor which sends out an invisible laser beam, which actually works on the principle so it can work in daylight or nighttime. So say for instance you're maybe someone who works on a night shift and you want this to go and clean your house while you're at work at night, not a problem at all. It will work in complete darkness. It doesn't need daylight to see like some of the other cheaper models on the market. So looking around the other side of the box, on the side we've got Neato D4, and we've got the laser smart navigation mentioned there, and it says there are other vacuums where they just basically bounce around everywhere. Whereas the Neato, because it's mapped out the area, it can do those really nice kind of tram lines in your carpets and whatever it may be. So it will literally go up and down, up and down, up and down, and make the best possible route using the least energy and being most efficient. Moving right on to the back of the box, this is probably going to cover some of the things we've mentioned already, but we'll go through it again anyway regardless. So in the top here we're saying the laser smart mapping and navigation for more thorough cleaning, great on hardwood, tile and on carpet. Now that's something we're going to come on to a little bit later when we look at the kind of the brush bar, beater bar. It's got a dual purpose beater bar, so it's actually got bristles and it's got the kind of like the rubber as well. So it's good on all types of flooring. Also, it says there about the setting no-go lines or no-go zones. So like it shows there, if you've got toys, whatever on the floor, you can avoid those areas altogether. It goes on to mention there about the D-shaped design, which we discussed. The battery life. Now the battery life is up to about 75 minutes of runtime, so just over an hour in most cases. Perfect for homes, small apartments, that kind of thing. If you want a longer runtime, then there is actually an upgraded model of this, which is the D7, which it might be worth checking out, which I'll leave some links in the description so you can check out the other range from Neato. There are actually, I think there's about 7 or 8 different models in the range. So again, I'll put a link so you can check them all out for yourselves. Finally on here is get new features and capabilities through regular software updates. Now this is the beauty of this, because it is connected to a mobile app and it can communicate with it, you can get firmware updates, software updates and feature updates. Some of the other models on the market, such as the cheap ones which have just got a simple remote control with them, they're very good and they work, but unfortunately if there's any new features or anything needs doing or firmware needs flashing or it's got a problem with it, that's it, you're stuck. There's no kind of user maintenance or any kind of external factors which can improve the performance. You get what you get. Whereas with the D4 and some of the other models, you can get improved experience, better run times, more efficient mapping, all those kinds of things, just with a flick of a switch and an upgrade of the firmware. So we've been through pretty much all the features. Let's take it out of the box and see what we actually get. You probably noticed already that the camera angle is a little bit different today because this is such a big box. I had to move the camera back a few feet. So first of all, we get our Neato customer care leaflet, and that's got all the connection, all the contact details for those of you in Europe, United Kingdom, Ireland, France, blah blah blah, all those kind of places. These devices are generally sent out region specific, so there's ones for North America, South America, Europe, etc, etc. So customer care, very important. That's included. You get a quick start guide. You get the vacuum itself, or robot itself. I'm not sure whether it wants to be called a robot or a vacuum. So we'll put that to one side for a second. So there's nothing else in there. So this is our accessories box. So in the accessories box, we get a European plug, get a UK plug, get a filter. You got a little Neato package. I think this is actually a maintenance brush. So yeah, you get a maintenance brush. So that's from Neato. That's a comb and it's got like a sharp knife on there. So this is for maintaining the actual roller bar. So if you get hairs or whatever stuck in it, maybe string, cotton, needle, whatever, you can use the cutter and then you can just simply go away and cut those bits off. You can use scissors if you want to, but it's nice to have the maintenance comb installed. You can actually use the pronged areas as well to actually scrape out what is in the filter. I don't know whether it's intended for that, but that is actually a good use for it because the filter itself has actually got some quite deep grooves into it. So although you can give it a tap on the bin to release any dust, using that if there's any bits stuck inside, again, saves getting your hands dirty. So last but not least, this is the charging base. So whenever Neato gets low on battery power or is sleeping, this is where he will reside, or she will reside. So you've got a large charging area there. Let's just do the pill. Inside here, there's a sensor inside which communicates with the device, so it knows exactly where it is, so it can find the charging station. You've got two large metal strips there to make contact with the back of the robot, so for charging. So if it can't quite get sat on in one particular area, these will be quite a long way across, so it shouldn't have any problems with recharging. On the back, you've got cable management options, and also there's the plug actually fits into there and comes out on a sideways manner, so you don't need any further depth behind it, but you do need something coming out of the side to actually plug into a main socket. Now I'm actually going to plug this into my Den home automation system. I want to keep an eye on what the actual power usage is of this, because I did a test today and I did a bit of vacuuming with my Dyson vacuum, and I was actually quite surprised to find that when I was actually using the Dyson with it on, with the motor running, it was using 1,156 watts of electricity, which actually is quite staggering. That's essentially like having a kettle on. So if you're vacuuming for maybe half an hour, 45 minutes or whatever it is, that is using a tremendous amount of energy. So I'm actually hoping by taking some accurate readings of how much wattage is being used by this for its charging purpose. So I'm going to take the kind of 24-hour charge, or however long it takes to charge fully. Then I'm going to take that against what the Dyson uses on its kind of normal cleaning cycle downstairs and compare the two and just see how much energy potentially can be saved by switching to a robot vacuum. You never know, it may actually pay for itself over a period of time. So that'll be something we're going to look at a little bit later. So that is our accessories. Let's take a look at the D4 in a little bit more detail. So let's start with the top. So on the top, like I said before, this area here is with your laser, so laser guidance system, which sounds very exciting, but essentially all it is, it just bounces off a laser like a radar system, so it detects where it can and cannot go, and also to find other things like the charging station, etc, etc. At the front you've got the large cleaning area, the head, and the head is actually spring loaded, and there are sensors in there, so if it taps against anything or knocks against anything, it will kind of back off and not go any further. You've also got side sensors as well, which move that way, so the head moves that way and that way and that way, so if there's any movement across there, again it will stop. Also you can use that movement to program the device, so when you're setting it up for the first time, I think you press and hold one of the buttons and press the side in, and to reset the Wi-Fi and that kind of thing you do the kind of the opposite side, but we'll go through that when we set it up. But there are options there. On the top you've got the on-off button there, which is a largish button, but not too large to be pressed accidentally by maybe if your cats decide to go to sleep on this. Hopefully it's not going to set it off, but we'll find that out in due course. You've got a information button and a battery button there, so very minimal actually on the device itself. Pretty much everything is taken care of within the app itself on the phone, or just by telling it what to do with your voice through the Amazon app or the Google Home. This section here is where the dust bin goes, as you can see, so there's quite a largish bin on there. From what I've seen of other reviews, I believe that is a 700 milliliter container, so almost a litre of storage there for dirt and debris, which is by no means massive, but certainly I would imagine it's going to be quite difficult to fill up on a single run. 2 days possibly, but again depending on what your carpets are like, how clean your place is to start with, time will tell. So this is the filter, so you get two filters, one and the spare, and these just clip in, so no real issues there, they just snap into place, he says. You do have to get the lugs lined up. There we go, so that's snapped into place, and you can take that out and wash all that out. The filters themselves, I don't think they are washable, or at least they don't recommend it. Personally, I probably will end up doing that. Whether or not that's going to have a negative effect, I honestly couldn't tell you. But to clean them, just give them a tap outside or on the bin or whatever. This section, if it gets grubby, then that is entirely plastic. There doesn't seem to be anything on there which could be damaged, so a rinse under the tap with some clean water and a towel wouldn't be any problem at all with that. Inside this section here, so this is where the intake is there, and it's actually quite a large intake, and then at the back that is the exhaust section, or is that the other way around? Yeah, that is the intake there. into the filter, then out through to the exhaust. So actually it's quite a straight air path, so there's not going to be any real resistance there. This should work really, really well. I have noticed there is actually kind of like a USB type connector in this top section, so there is going to be feedback from the actual container itself. Let's have a look, where is that? No, maybe that is for some kind of programming. There is a switch there, which I guess is going to detect if the bin is actually in place or not. Yeah, I think that decides whether the bin is actually installed or not. So if the bin isn't installed, it'll come up with all kinds of error messages. But essentially that's it for this side. There's not a great deal going on. Let's have a look at the bottom. So on the bottom you've got these nice chunky wheels, which are rubberized, so they're going to be nice and grippy. You've got some stabilizer wheels on the back section, and also you've got the brush bar here. So like I said before, the brush bar itself, you've got bristles on the brush bar, and you've also got the rubber element as well. So again, depending on what sort of flooring you're on, the rubber brush bars are fantastic for kind of tile floor, vinyl flooring, that kind of thing. Brushes and bristles obviously much better for carpet. But the combination of the two gives you the best of both worlds. So in certain circumstances, if you've got maybe sand or grit on carpet, then the brushes aren't always the best for that. But the rubber actually does pick up that kind of dirt a lot easier. Conversely, the other way around, things like hair strands do work better with brushes. So you've got the best of both worlds there, as I said. So that is pretty much it. What I need to do now is get it set up and take it on a test drive. Okay, so we've got the Neato D4 set up. You've got it down there in our hallway. It does say when you're setting up that it needs to have at least a meter either side of it and preferably in front of it so that it can find its location, okay? Now this at the moment is the best place I can find to put it. There isn't clearly a meter in front of it because this is just quite our narrow hallway, but at the moment this is the best we've got, so we're going to give it a go. Hopefully it's going to be fine. Now, I've had a look through the quick start manual and that's what it said to do. So the next thing to do is to go over to the Neato app and actually install the D4 into the application. So hopefully we don't need this anymore. So I'm now recording this on the phone as well, so hopefully you'll be seeing it pop up here or wherever. So download the Neato app, register, you'll get a confirmation email come through in your email inbox. Just click on that and then that will authorize the account, and then you can go ahead and use the app. So first of all, we need to get the actual robot online. So let's connect to Wi-Fi. Now I did actually have a previous one of these which I used very briefly, but I had to send it back, so we're gonna have another go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna connect to the Wi-Fi and choose the same robot again. Obviously when you do this for yourself for the first time, it is gonna look slightly different. So now we need to turn on Wi-Fi pairing mode as it shows in the app. So this is pretty nice and simple. Wish I'd had a wireless microphone for this, would have been a lot easier. So press the start button and the right bumper for 10 seconds. So that's the start button. It actually does show you, so if you're not sure which is left and right, you can just look it there. So press right and turn on 10 seconds and keep on holding it until you see the slow blinking blue light. I didn't see that bit, didn't have my glasses on. So press the start button and turn the robot on. So the slow blinking blue light and the info icon will appear within 30 seconds. So yeah, we've got that. So the robot is now in pairing mode for up to an hour. So now we need to connect to the access point. So now you have to choose the Wi-Fi network to connect to your robot. So I'm going to choose the Churchill one. And you have to give it a name. So it's connected to the Wi-Fi. I think that's a good sign. And there we go. So that is everything connected. That is pretty simple to do. Now there is an update, robot software update available. Tap here to learn more. But it also says, hello, I'm Neato, ready to clean. So it'd be rude not to start cleaning really, wouldn't it? So let's go with a clean. So on its first outing, it's going to go around and have a look, try and find all the ways around the house. It may well get stuck on a couple of occasions, you may have to help it out, but after the first time it's done it, you can set up your no-go areas and also set up all your boundaries in the application. You can also do manual cleaning, so spot clean, all that kind of stuff. You can play, pause, or tell the unit to go back to its dock, and let's see what else we can do. So at the moment there's nothing we can do until it's actually done its first run and it's got a map of the house. So I'm going to leave that running and we'll be back shortly after. Okay, so it's a few days later now and we've given the Neato D4 a good run around the house, and I'm actually really impressed. The quality of the cleaning, the actual usability, the energy usage. Now actually going back to the energy usage, which I touched on a little bit earlier in the video, this thing actually draws about 23 watts from the wall whilst it's charging. And in the idle mode, anywhere between 1 to 3 watts depending on what's going on. I did notice every now and then there is like a little blip in the battery where it shoots up to 17 watts. Maybe this is some sign of maintenance charging that goes on, but it's only for a minute or two and that's about it. But under a full charge, 23 watts is what it seems to be taking from the wall, and it does that for about 2 hours or so, maybe a little bit more. So it's not using a lot of electricity or a lot of energy, and it's certainly a lot less than my Dyson with its nearly 1200 watts of power from the wall, which is pretty insane really. Obviously the Dyson has a bit more suck-in power, but this thing actually just gets the job done. It leaves the carpets looking nice and groomed, it does its thing. I don't have to get involved apart from periodically opening up the lid and then just throwing away the contents. It really is very simple, and obviously you have to do that with a regular vacuum anyway, especially a Dyson. You generally empty the canister every week or so, or maybe every couple of days depending on your usage. But essentially this has been brilliant. I found it to be very good at not getting stuck. There was a particular area in the front room underneath one of the chairs where it kind of got a little bit stuck, but we just put up a no-go zone in the app and it doesn't go there anymore, so it doesn't get stuck. It climbs over the carpet. You may have seen in the video a little bit earlier, there's quite a deep, thick pile rug in the front room and it navigates that pretty easily. It does go a little bit slower because obviously it's a very thick rug, but it just gets the job done. It doesn't get stuck, it goes in, does what it needs to do, cleans it, keeps it all nice and tidy, and the kids, the pets, everybody in the home absolutely loves this thing. It gets on and does its thing. Kath particularly likes it because when she does some vacuuming, she just does the vacuuming upstairs now. The downstairs is taken care of by the Neato. So overall, very impressed. For some, the price may be a little bit hard to swallow. It is a relatively expensive item, but having said that, a brand new Dyson vacuum in the UK can be anywhere from 150 to 350 pounds depending on which model you get. So this is a little bit higher than that, but it does give you that freedom. So while the sun's shining in the UK, which is a rare thing, you can be out in the garden enjoying yourself, relaxing, having a drink, while Neato gets on and does the chores that you would have otherwise been doing. So there you go, that's been the Neato D4 RoboVac. I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.